Welcome to PR Powerhouse, helping female entrepreneurs to get in the press and to gain PR. I'm Jo Swan, and I'll be sharing how to harness the power of the media to boost your credibility and business visibility, no matter what stage in business you're at. Because I'm on a mission to show you that PR is not just for the big boys. In this show, you'll learn how to reach out to journalists and own your place in the press, because you are ready to become a PR powerhouse. Hello, and welcome to this episode of PR Powerhouse. It's a crazy day today here. It's super windy. So if you do hear a bit of random background noise, that's what it is. We have a fab team that works on this podcast, and I am sure they will do their very best to get rid of that. But if there are random noises, that's what's going on. So it's been quite a week this week. I hope you've had a fab week. Ours has been quite a full week. You know, sometimes weeks just feel really intense, and our week has felt quite intense. It's been a really juicy one, full of lots of emotion, with some extreme highs, which have been amazing to celebrate, and also some real moments of emotion. So some real moments of sadness, some real moments of real vulnerability from our clients who are really stepping out of their comfort zone to be visible. So when that's a journey that you begin on, it's not all roses, it's not all a plain sailing. And, you know, sometimes it's not that smooth ride, I guess, because of the nature of the kind of PR that we do. It's so personal, and it really is a lot about unraveling those layers and really kind of letting yourself be seen. And when you dig deep and you lay your heart and soul on the line, then often that can bring difficulties, because parts of your story can feel quite painful to tell. Parts of that story can still bring up some emotion. So whilst we don't encourage anyone to do PR until they're totally ready and until they have come out the other side of whatever adversity they've been through, it's still only human for emotions to come up when you are, you know, bringing some of those stories to the forefront. So absolutely, that's completely natural, and that's something that we've really experienced this week. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this. I want to talk to you about actually what's involved when you really go in with PR. And the episode today is all around PR that means something. So what I'm going to be discussing is, it's not a teach today, it's much more of a conversation around actually what kind of happens when you get involved in this kind of needle moving PR, when you're involved in PR that starts conversations that need to be had, and when you're involved in PR that really inspires and motivates other people to be better, to be kinder, to be stronger, to be more honest, whether for the sake of others or themselves. This is when all of this becomes worth it. So when some of the struggles or some of the challenges that you face just become worth it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the power of PR when it actually means something. So I hope that's okay with you. It's not a direct, this is how to do this. It's not a direct teach session. It is more just a bit of a musings of what has been going on in my world this week. So one of the big things that's happened this week is we have kicked off our new mastermind group. So you might have seen me talking about this if you follow me on social. You might have heard me chat about it before. So we've got a mastermind group that's called Make Me Famous. And this is a really small, tight, intense little group that we work with to really help them step into owning their space in their field, to really step into the power of sharing their stories and their knowledge to make a real impact. So it's an all-in sort of situation where these people have decided and committed that they are ready and that they really feel the need to up-level their visibility so that they can make more impact. And this week we kicked off. So we kicked off with a new cohort, and as ever, we start by really getting to know them. So we run like I think it was like a 10 till 4 session, like a really intense full day session where we really deep dive and we really get to know everything about them. We get to know what makes them tick. We get to know what kind of character traits they are. And it's really fun. We do use lots of little tricks and techniques to really get people to illustrate to us, actually, what their character traits and their values are, quite often unbeknown to them, in fact. And what comes out is their key qualities and the values that we really need to represent, which is so interesting. And I love all of that. And I really love learning about their businesses and why they've ended up doing what they're doing, why they feel totally driven to do that, why that's the thing that gets them out of bed every day. Love understanding the reasons behind why people set up the businesses that they do. But one of the most important questions that we ask them is quite a big question. And this always brings up so much stuff. So the question that we ask them throughout the day is what impact they want to make on the world. Because this is where we're coming at PR. So this is the kind of PR that we love the most. Not just doing PR for the sake of it. Not just doing PR because we want to get a few trust tags. Not just doing PR because we want to be seen for the sake of it. So we love the kind of PR when PR means something, when it's actually doing a job, when it's serving a purpose. So we ask this question right at the beginning because that's what we then need to focus on over the next 6 months to really make that happen and to find all the different ways that we can make that happen. It's a big question, right? It's a big question. What impact do you want to make on the world? It is not one that you might easily be able to naturally answer. It's a hard question, well, because it means so much. So it was one of the questions that a few of the ladies did struggle with initially. And like I said, there's no surprise about that because it's a huge thing to answer. But what we found, as they were soul searching and they were struggling to really think big, we needed to give them a different perspective because they were too stuck in what they were doing. So we found that everyone was quite stuck in thinking about, well, what were they delivering like day to day? What were they doing in their client work? You know, what impact was that making? And that is a part of the answer, but we need you to think a bit bigger than that, really, if you're really going to hook onto what your PR angle and mission and goal really is. So we invited in one of our fabulous friends, clients, colleagues, the amazing Dani Wallace, aka the Queen Bee. You may have come across her. If you follow me, you have definitely come across her. She's an incredible human being who, oh my God, just gives so much to so many people, and we adore working with her. So we work together in loads and loads of different ways, but she came in to support us in this program, and she popped her head into the session, did a little session for us to offer her advice. Because she has steadily grown her business over the last 3 years to a point where it has skyrocketed. It was unrecognisable from where she was even 18 months ago. And a lot of that has come down to her being visible and to her also choosing to share that journey with her audience and to take them on the ride with her. Her audience knows a lot about her. If you follow Dani, you pretty much know her life story, and she does that for a reason. She's very intentional about sharing that information because she feels that it makes an impact on those who need to hear that message at the time. So she was a perfect person to come in and to help these guys really think about their legacy, because she is absolutely 100% super clear on her mission and her legacy. So I'll come back to Dani in a little bit because I'm going to talk to you about her a little bit more. But we couldn't think of anyone better to come and kind of hammer home the importance of this. And that is exactly what she did. We had so many light bulb moments that it was incredible. It was so exciting. So I thought I would just share with you a few things that happened in that session because I think it's really interesting in terms of how she enabled those breakthroughs. And she asked some very simple questions, but questions that really got people thinking much further into the future than just today, than just what they are actually doing right now. So some of the things that she asked was, what has the future you achieved? What is your impact in 5 years' time? and looking forward to future generations, what will be the impact of your work? So you can see from these questions, what she's encouraging us to do is to fast forward time and to look back almost from the outside in to see what has changed, what we have helped to change, what we have enabled to change. So she's asking us to really reflect and to recognize and to take ownership of the power of what we're doing today and how that will play out in the future. So it was super interesting to see people actually start to process that and to start to really actually understand themselves of the bigger impact that they were making. And in a few cases, they hadn't really considered that. So this idea of looking forward to the future enables your brain to actually, I guess, kind of get ahead of yourself to prove to you the longer term impact of your work that you're doing today. And that was so brilliant to kind of watch unfold before us. And one of the other questions that she asked is, what is the fight that you are really trying to win here? And I loved that one because I loved the idea of being a champion, of being someone who is enabling something positive to happen through our hard work, through our tenacity, through our focus on something that we want to change. So what is the fight that you are really trying to win here? What is the thing that you need to make happen? What is the thing that you don't want to happen anymore? What is the thing that you need to change? What needs to get better? What needs to be different? And I think asking yourself those questions are super powerful. So for us, this all comes down to what the fight is that we're committed to and we're trying to win is obviously getting more female entrepreneurs, particularly online space female entrepreneurs, more visible so that their voices are more heard. But that's not just voices being heard for the sake of it. It's because we want to have more of an influence. We want our community as a whole to be able to have more of an influence. And by that, I mean, I want people from our world to be the people that are being asked to be involved when there's important decisions that are going on in the world, when there's important decisions around, small business rules, small business statistics that are being released, reflections on the impact of changes that the government make. I want us to be involved in those conversations and to be a part of those conversations, and we are absolutely not right now. So traditional business is still very much who is called upon to quote and to share opinions and to share views on things that are seen to be wider world. And I just don't think that's right. So that's something that we are really fighting to change, to get more recognition for the significance of online business owners, for the part that they play, certainly in keeping the economy moving, but also in so many different ways in society. And there needs to be so many more conversations around that. So that really kind of got me to reflect back on that as our bigger mission and really think about, well, what are we doing in the longer term? How powerful is this? And actually, what things do we need to make happen to enable us to really move that dial? So it was great. I loved the session for myself. It was super reflective, but actually we just loved seeing the breakthroughs from the other guys in the group, because what we found was that was the perspective that everybody needed to move out of their doing and to think about the impact that they were making. And it's a real massive change in how you see yourself and your contribution. And as a result, these are some of the things that came out. So we had people realise that through their work and the longer term impact, what they could actually achieve could be things like breaking abusive cycles, creating generational change, contributing to reducing mental health struggles, making headway to decreasing the amount of young girls, for example, suffering with eating disorders, improving women's financial freedom, breaking cycles that shouldn't exist. So much powerful stuff. So much more came out as well. And it was absolutely incredible to watch as everyone really started to just step up and step into that bigger power, as they really started to understand the impact of their work in the longer term. And that's the kind of PR that I absolutely adore. That's the kind of PR that I believe has got a place. That's really, I think, where you should be investing your efforts if you're going to do PR. Doing it in a way that is going to have some impact. It's actually going to make a difference towards your bigger mission and your bigger goal. So we encourage our clients to share stories and knowledge, obviously, and that isn't just to boost their egos. It's not just so that they can gain credibility. Those are important parts of why they do PR, and obviously growing their business through reaching more people. But the reason why we love this kind of PR so much is because we genuinely do care. We genuinely care that PR is used for good. You know, I've worked for years and years and years with massive corporates. So many success stories of working with huge clients and creating incredible results. But that's not where my heart lies anymore, because there's an element of all of that stuff that is a bit too superficial. Because when you're doing it on that bigger scale, it's hard to really make the impact that you want. When you're working one-to-one or in group scenarios with the actual business owner themselves, with the human, with you, we are so much closer to you and your mission and what you're trying to achieve. And all of the content that you can share and all the stories that you have got to really help you really leverage the power of PR in a good way to make an impact, to make a difference. So we care about using PR for good. We care about the power of it. And it's because these stories need to be told. So one of the first reasons why I went into helping female entrepreneurs rather than working with the big corporates anymore was because I met an incredible group of women whose stories need to be told. They had left the corporate world. They were running what they were calling these side hustles, which got me so cross. They weren't taking themselves seriously. They had incredible ideas for these businesses. Some of them had incredible businesses already, but they were hidden. They were not known. They were living in a tiny little bubble, and if they weren't careful, that business was going to go to shit. That business was going to collapse because not enough people knew about them, not enough people were excited about them, not enough people cared about them. And how you change that is you connect with more people. You tell your stories. You become a part of a bigger conversation. And this is really where the power of PR comes in for me. So it's because these stories and this knowledge needs to be shared that's why we do what we do. And for me, that's what creates the ripple effect. That is actually what creates change when PR is used in this way. So how is that going to happen? Well, it just happens by default because others reading your story will be inspired. Others reading your story will be motivated. They will feel supported and they won't feel alone anymore. And I know that that's a reason why many of you start your businesses, because you don't want others to feel like you have felt before, or you don't want others to feel like they are in this by themselves, that you want them to feel like they're supported and that they've got someone they can turn to. So what this can do, this could potentially lead others to not making a wrong turn or making a detrimental move, or actually being stuck in circumstances where they're not safe or healthy or happy. It might actually save lives. And we do have examples where our clients sharing their stories has hit the right person at the right time, and it literally has saved lives. Like, it gives me goosebumps to even think about it. On a positive note as well, it also could encourage them to make a difference in their own way, to make new choices, to perhaps follow suit and share their experiences and story. And so the ripple effect grows. It grows because of the impact that you make and the connection that you make through your content. The other way that PR is powerful through sharing stories, content, knowledge is because actually when you put PR out there and you put it on something like social media, then it kind of has new legs again. So it kind of then has a new life of its own. So what PR can do is it can spark conversations. So it can spark conversations because it gets people thinking about a subject that perhaps they wouldn't have naturally thought about. And the power of this cannot be underestimated, because there's so many conversations that don't get enough time. There's so many conversations that just don't happen. There's topics that are left not discussed or pussyfooted around quite often, or even completely ignored. There's lots of conversations that are just kept under the radar. And if they were brought into a bit more mainstream conversation, then it just feels like so many different things could happen. So I definitely feel there's not enough awkward conversations going on. I definitely feel that it's really important to get people to think and to challenge what they know. And this is another reason why I love PR, because it does this so well. When someone really gets into a story, really gets into a piece of content, it is really reflective. It really does make you stop and look at your own circumstances and get you to think. So this is where the impact becomes much bigger in terms of you could actually be creating more of societal change if you can actually impact how a group of people start to think about a subject in a more positive way, in a more useful way, then that's pretty powerful too. So I want to bring you back to Danny now, bring you back to the fabulous Danny, because she does exactly this. Time and time again, we have been involved in helping her do this, which makes me super proud. She starts important conversations, and she starts conversations around awkward subjects. So she starts conversations around being a domestic abuse survivor. She also talks quite a lot about the establishment and the injustice of it all, of how the Queen's born the Queen, and why should that mean that she has a more privileged life just because she was born the Queen. And Danny grew up in the council estates of Preston, and her life was a little bit harder and a little bit shitter and a little bit more trying. So what's the equality around that? She's very passionate about that subject. And she also talks a lot around self-worth and self-love, and really delves into insecurities and preconceptions around things. So this week, we've been an emotional roller coaster. We have had all sorts of emotions going on. And this week, we've really, truly celebrated Danny. So we've had some ups, we've had some downs, we've had lots of emotion. But what I love about Danny is that she's super clear on her legacy. She knows exactly what gets her out of bed in a morning. And she spoke to our fabulous ladies about this, about how she literally feels compelled to do what she does because she's just so driven that her work needs to make a difference. It needs to make a change. And yes, this is fueled by her own experiences, and it's fueled by the fact that she comes from adversity and that she's overcome a lot, and that's a real part of your story. And she's got this massive heart, and she just wants to help and protect and support other people who have either had similar challenges or are faced with something that they're struggling with. So the piece that we celebrated this week, it was a very specific focus, and it was a massive, massive article in the Metro. We did a definite happy dance when this one came through because it was just so exciting to see it out. And it was called, "I Love My Plus Size Body. I was gutted to be told to lose weight for my health." So you can see where the angle of that is going. And this was all around the fact that Danny has had to do something quite drastic recently for her health. And she was advised to go and get gastric surgery. And this was something that really didn't sit well with her because she has celebrated her plus size body for years. She has made it a part of who she is. She's made it a part of her brand. She's made it a part of her identity. And she's been very supportive and loud and proud of others who also have, who are in plus size bodies. So she's been a huge advocate for body positivity and for self-love and all of that stuff. And so when it came to the fact that she was basically her hand was being forced because of her health issues, that she needed to do something quick about losing weight and decided that gastric surgery was the way forward, she wanted to have a conversation about that. She wanted to have a conversation about how awkward that felt, about how weird that felt, about how wrong it felt initially, and to just have this conversation around all of the things that need to be talked around body size, around body perception, around body love, around how you feel about yourself and how others feel about you. So it was such an interesting delve into her emotions, and we thought, putting it in an article like this can only do good because it can only help other people. So in this piece, she celebrates her previous body, which was a size 24 body, and she celebrates it in style. Oh my God. So if you know Danny, you know she does things in style, and I was not the least bit surprised when she came to me and said, "Oh, do you know what I'm going to do before I lose all my weight? I'm going to get a gold body cast done. And I'm going to do a boudoir photo shoot." And I was like, of course you are. Of course you are. And I love that is what you're doing. So she went ahead and got these things done before she did the surgery. And we've charted the journey in this article. And it's so interesting. It's written in her own words, and she unravels so many judgments, so many preconceptions, so many stereotypes and myths about being plus size and how it makes you feel. And she really dives into celebrating herself, really super openly, super honestly, and sharing her health journey and its consequences. She is known for her big bubbly nature, and I think it's a really interesting juxtaposition of her kind of having to go down this road, and it sparks really interesting conversation. So it's a fabulous, fascinating read. What I've loved about it as well, not just the actual quality of the article and the conversations that she's having with it, but is the reaction that it's sparked. So, I was saying when you share it on social, then it has legs of its own. That exact thing has happened. So she's shared it on social and she has had so much support, hundreds of comments on this post, and not all from people that know her well either. Quite a few people have commented that have been lurking in her world, who have come out of the woodwork and gone, oh my God, thank you for writing this. This is so powerful. This has really got me thinking, this has really showcased to me the kind of person that you are. Like, it really shows her values and her qualities, but also it's quite challenging in terms of getting you to think about things differently. And people have really responded well to that. So that was a fabulous thing to see, because actually people who were not in her close-knit circle thanking her for starting this conversation just goes to show that actually that is appreciated. It is appreciated when people put their heads above the parapet and actually have something to say about something that matters. So for me, this really shows that piece has made real impact, because it has potentially challenged how people are thinking about things, potentially could change how they treat others, I think. And it's certainly changed how some people have been thinking about themselves. We've seen that through some of the comments. So the impact is there from one article, literally from one article. And that's just from the people that we have seen that have commented. We all know that there's still a massive proportion of people that lurk on social media who haven't commented. So they will have been processing that information in a way that suited them. And also, that's to say nothing of the other thousands of people who will also have read it, who are not directly connected with Dani, who have taken it in their stride in their own way as well. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I think it's a real example of the power of PR when it means something. And Dani, for us, I'm going to get her on the podcast, actually. We're going to do an interview episode, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to actually properly introduce you to her, because she is an absolute star client of ours. We've worked with her for years now, and it's a relationship that I absolutely value and adore. And she's super intentional with her PR, and that's one of the reasons why she's such a pleasure to work with, because she's really aware of the power of her words, and she uses them for good intentionally. She really, really does. So I guess where I'm trying to take you with this episode is to kind of challenge you a little bit, and to ask you, for you to think about the power of your words, and to think about the power of your story and of sharing your experiences, and consider what the impact of all of that could be. Because when you start to think about what the impact of that could be, you start to think about what your legacy could be. And that's when it gets really interesting. So I'd love you to share with me if you have any light bulb moments after this. I would love you to DM me on Instagram at JoChockPR, or come into my free group, PR You Can Do, on Facebook, and just let me know if there's some thoughts that have come out on the back of listening to this episode, whether you started to consider your bigger impact. What's going through your mind? What are you thinking right now? I would really love you to share any light bulb moments or any insights that you have. And obviously then I would love to follow your journey to see where you take that, and actually think about how you could use that to get involved in using the power of PR for good. So I'm going to leave you there. Have a fabulous, fabulous week. And I look forward to coming back and chatting to you again next week. All right, guys, take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to PR Powerhouse with me, Jo Swan. If you want to feel empowered and supported and excited about getting in the press, come and join us in our free community over on Facebook at PR You Can Do It. I would absolutely love to see you there, so I can help you take those next steps to getting in the media.